Without hyperbole, the brand new M4 iPad Pro has changed how I work and how I learn. And seriously, YouTuber voice aside, if you are looking to work differently, you should buy one of these. And not to waste your time, but the bottom line of the video up front is that the combination of squeeze on the Apple Pencil Pro, some key accessories, though not the iPad Magic Keyboard, always available self-service, and the incredible power via that M4 processor, it makes this a very powerful tool. And I cannot believe how much my opinion of this has changed since my initial unboxing. And I would recommend buying one of these if you are in the market for something to replace your analog notebooks or on-the-go productivity. Quick note, nobody is paying me to recommend this tablet. Nobody provided me this tablet. And if you haven't noticed, I'm kind of a social media hermit. I don't really talk to brands or companies all that much. I bought this with my own money. In fact, I bought two of them. Originally, I bought the larger 13-inch model. I really didn't like that, and I returned it for this 11-inch one, which did end up being the right decision for me. When I bought this, I thought it was going to be for a couple of videos about how maybe it's great, but it's mostly a rehash and incremental update that we've seen time and time again from iPads going all the way back to 2018. And that's still a true statement, by the way. It's the nuances, it's the minutia of this product that make it so good. And I'm not going to dive into specs or ordering options or anything like that. If you want to see more of that information, I'll direct you to my other videos about the M4 iPad Pro. What we're going to do today is we're going to dive into the main reasons on why you should buy this tablet. During the course of the video, I will do my best to point out if there is a lower cost alternative that gives you the same specific reason we're talking about, but for less money. And funnily enough, when I started working on this video a couple of weeks ago, I had to add an extra reason after WWDC last week, so I guess stay tuned for that. First off, if you want this to be a laptop replacement and you are willing to live with the trade-offs between a desktop-first operating system and a mobile-first operating system, because don't get it twisted, whatever Apple is saying, this is still a mobile-first operating system. So if you can deal with that, sure, go for it. I won't stop you. I could not use an iPad Pro as my only computer or computing device. Also, let's clear the air. I really do not like the new iPad Magic Keyboard. It's too heavy. That's it. That's the analysis. But what this iPad has done for me is it's replaced a few key things that used to always be at my side. So I guess the first reason to buy is the Apple Pencil Pro. I'm normally pretty ambivalent about the Apple Pencil. You've heard me say this in plenty of videos that, yeah, sure, it can be part of the ecosystem, but unless you are an artist, this is the first part that you should skip. However, in the past month of literal daily use, and I'm not saying like, hey, I used it for 30 days, and by I used it for 30 days, I mean I bought it 30 days ago, and it's just like been around me for 30 days. I've used this every day. The Pencil Pro has essentially wiped out paper notebooks for me. In this drawer right over here, I have like 9 or 10 notebooks from the last 2 years that are just always in there. The Apple Pencil Pro has gotten rid of them. And the way it interacts with some key applications is so good, but we'll get to that in a second. I've had a Moleskine-like notebook on me for 10 years. 10 years at this point, but I won't anymore. And a big part of that is you write something down on paper. Yeah, you have it for that second, but when you need to access that data or that information later, I have to then search through these drawers. I have to find the right notebook. I then have to search through the notebook for the right meeting or the right thing I wrote down. That means all of that data is now trapped in that drawer, essentially. But the iPad Pro has an amazing series of apps that assist in. I don't want to call it note-taking, even though yes, they are note-taking apps, and yes, you could just use them for straight note-taking. I mean, that's what they're marketed as. They're more like life management tools, because everything I do in my life from work to school, well, I guess that's all I really do. Everything about that, I write down. The magic of the Apple Pencil is the way it interacts with these apps, and it's as simple, and I'm not kidding. I know this has been a lot of preamble talking about it, but the thing that makes this so great is the squeeze function. You can set this up in a variety of ways, almost unlimited ways, because this squeeze can also interact with the Shortcuts app. So you could program this to do just about anything. But what I do is I squeeze it for an eraser. Did you hear that? I squeeze for eraser. Well, Gary, why didn't you just lead off with that? Well, random voice in my head. If I wanted to erase something previously, I had to double tap on the pencil, right like that. And I don't know about y'all, But that sucks. It seems so easy right here because I'm holding it properly. But if I'm in the middle of writing and I make a mistake, even something like double tapping on the pencil means I have to take my hand off the tablet. I have to orient this around because the only way it seems to really work is when I tap on the flat spot. I have to do that and then I can start writing again. I know that sounds like a contrived workflow for YouTube video purposes, but that's what I have had to use, and I hated it. This struggle to correct errors in a non-zero amount of time is really the reason I've never adopted the Apple Pencil before. But now it's as simple as just squeezing, erasing, let go, keep writing. It's so good. This one update totally delivers on the promise of a digital pen that not only replaces the capability that I expect from a physical pen, but actually enhances it and makes it indispensable. Erasing pen by itself is very difficult. Erasing a digital pen with all I have to do is squeeze, erase, then start writing, it's so good. Something else that's not one of the reasons I mentioned in the beginning, but seriously, those note-taking apps are so good. Specifically, I've been using Notability for both school and work notes, and it allows me to write down all my notes on any kind of paper I want, but then I can also digitally search through my handwriting, which is amazing because my handwriting is atrocious. I can search and then find keywords or hashtags that I'll write in to find later. You can also record teachers or courses, which then provides a text-based transcript after the fact that you can use to double check your notes or search for ideas that you know will be on a test or a project. Sorry, I'm just so excited. I feel like if I don't talk as fast as possible, I'm not going to get all this information out, but I love this. All of that in a tablet that itself is the same size as the notebook that it replaced. This isn't a computer replacement. If you do as much writing as I do throughout the day, this is almost like a brain replacement. Y'all, I'm 1,000 words in already, and I cannot overstate how big of that little change of the squeeze to erase has made. I can't believe I just talked for 9 minutes about the squeeze function on this pencil. The thing about the squeeze is I cannot mention a cheaper alternative. There does not exist. The Apple Pencil Pro only works with the newer iPads. Yes, that sucks. 100% sucks. I wish it worked with the legacy iPads that worked with the Apple Pencil version 2 that's still connected via Bluetooth at the top of the tablet. I wish they did that. That sucks, but they don't. So if you want this, as useful as that is, you have to get one of these updated models. The next reason to buy this tablet is modularity. Yes, that's kind of a general statement, but during my week-long seminar/course, I really liked that I was able to have this in tablet mode 95% of the time, writing all those notes we just talked about. But in the rare instance that I wanted to send an email during lunch or work on this script during lunch, all I needed to do was set it into the folio case in stand mode and break out my little actual Magic Keyboard. That combination is so powerful. I'm surprised I don't see this pairing more in Apple's promotional material. The standard Magic Keyboard is far more comfortable and useful keyboard in its own right compared to the 11-inch iPad Pro Magic Keyboard. It's lighter, better ergonomics. It can be used without having to hover over the iPad like a laptop. It's so good. Now, this is one thing. You could absolutely get the same effect with an iPad Gen 10 and a cheap Bluetooth keyboard. I'm telling you, that iPad Magic Keyboard makes this thing so heavy. It's heavier than laptops. And when it's heavier than a laptop, then my brain wants it to be a laptop. Something that's not necessarily a full reason to buy, but kind of in the modularity discussion, is when you also get the cellular version. 5G makes this not only powerful, useful, and fast, but that 99% connection to the internet also means you have security and redundancy for your files. All of my notes and all of my work is instantly backed up to both my Google Cloud and my iCloud, essentially as fast as I write. And then it's immediately available either on my phone or my MacBook. So I could, and have over the past few weeks, go from working on my iPad, realizing that I'm at the point where I need to start using VS Code on my computer, or I need to check something on my phone or share something to somebody else, and it's just easier to do on my phone. And it's so easy because of that 5G connection. Yes, I could share it via like AirDrop, or I could manually share it, but having it automatically happen, sounds like a small thing. And again, this isn't something specific to this particular iPad. You could get it from the M2 iPad Pro at the same time. But either way, it's a very powerful, if more expensive, capability. And we can't forget the power, and maybe forget is a wrong word. We can't leave the implication of the power unmentioned. The M4 processor under the hood here, at first glance, seems like overkill for the functions you might need a tablet for. Again, I do not recommend this as a computer replacement. Gaming isn't something I get too wrapped up in. Power tasks for me, what I define as a power task, is not something that I would want to do on this tablet within the current limitations of iPad OS. There you go. For all of you with your bingo cards, you get the free square of a YouTuber complaining about iPadOS. But in practical terms, this tablet has been lightning fast. Even when I have used Stage Manager to swap back and forth between active programs, it happens so fast and so seamlessly that you don't realize the background program needs to wake up, essentially. When I have multiple things running, the iPad moves fast. Faster than I can, but that might not be, I'm getting older, that might not be saying as much. The bonus, or the reason to buy that came into being after I started writing this script and planning the video, however, is another thing that takes advantage of the M4 processor, Apple Intelligence. Look, I'm a technical product manager, and that week of school that I'm just getting back from was talking about data and AI. So I'm well aware some of the key limitations of existing AI technology, and I'm not going to spin a fanciful story of magic for you here. I do think that co-pilots and their ilk are one of the current most useful applications of the sort of large language models and other current AI tech that Apple Intelligence is likely to be made of. And having those available on apps like Notes is probably going to draw me away from my note-taking productivity suite and bring me right back to the iWorks ecosystem. Key features that I think are worth investing in, like investing in buying this specific iPad: handwriting augmentation, where the AI will clean up your handwriting when taking notes. You've heard me say this forever. My handwriting is actual garbage, and this is 100% something I would buy a whole tablet for. Thankfully, I don't have to because I already have one. It will also help summarize lectures, lecture notes, provide context, and let me change aggressively written emails into maybe not as angry emails. Sometimes in the heat of the moment, you just write out an angry email, and maybe that's not always the best. Automatic transcripts of professors' lectures via voice recorder, and it turns this into a little tutor in your backpack at all time. Of course, all of this is hypothetical and not yet on the market, so take every piece after I said the word Apple Intelligence with a grain of salt. But if it pans out, this will be a reason to buy the tablet in the future. Something else I want to make a keynote of is the battery life. I put this straight up through its paces. I kept this thing online and not asleep for 5 straight days, 8 to 10 hours each day of writing notes, checking email, etc. This screen, I think I only turned it off for lunch. And even then, I was still using to browse the internet. This made it comfortably through each day, each time. I did have one of the longer 10-hour days drop the battery life to 20%, which made me nervous in that specific instance, but in a normal school setting where you are in a 2-hour lecture, then moving to a different class with your iPad and your backpack and off, no issues at all. And in a work setting where you are taking meeting notes throughout the day and then moving back to your work laptop, literally no issue because this thing won't be on 100% of the time. I was actually nervous with the power of this chip, the brightness and the power of the display, that the battery life would be truncated, but honestly, it's worked out very well for me over the past month. At the end of the day, you could get pieces of these functions elsewhere for cheaper. Note-taking could be done on the iPad Gen 10, the always-on 5G could be done with an M2 iPad Pro, you could just hotspot from your phone, etc. But the M4 iPad Pro in totality is actually enough of an improvement from what came before, and is placed really well to be more useful in the future, and I think that is absolutely enough to recommend buying it. Mine has without a doubt been next to me at all times since buying it, and I don't see it leaving my side anytime soon. What about you? Do you have or have you tried the M4 iPad Pro? What do you think? Good or bad? Let us all know in the comments below. And if you want to see the best accessories for this tablet, click right here. Click, 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 click. It's so hard to do that one-handed. Thanks for watching.